Alright, hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we are not going to be scrambling eggs. Today we are going to talk about the draft lottery results and what picking third means for the Blackhawks. Just to jump right into it, this is the draft order, at least the lottery order, so you can see Montreal, Vancouver, Columbus, Detroit, Rangers, Pittsburgh, Anaheim, Buffalo, Seattle, Boston, Philadelphia, Nashville, Utah, Chicago, San Jose, and then the Islanders. I have no idea why I just did the Chicago, but did it twice now. So the Islanders jumped from, I believe, number 10 to number 1, and Utah jumped up to number 4. They were somewhere in this area. I can't remember exactly where, but so two teams that had pretty low odds jumped up in the lottery. It happens. Not a ton Chicago can do about it. So as a result, we are picking number 3, which kind of sucks, but also it's not the worst thing in the world. So I think the best way to do this is just to go through the top 4 prospects in this draft, at least in my opinion, and then we can come back to the screen and talk about some scenarios that could happen and stuff. So first up, we have Matthew Schaefer. He's a left-handed defenseman, played in the OHL for the Erie Otters, I believe. So you can see here, 73 games played in his OHL career, 10 goals, 29 assists. He was a plus 19. His draft year stats, OHL, 17 games played, 7 goals, 15 assists. He was a plus 21. And then for Canada at the World Juniors, 2 games played, 1 goal, 1 assist, and a plus 2. Very unlucky to get hurt this season because he was on fire. Still probably going to be the number 1 pick unless the Islanders do some weird stuff, which we can maybe talk about later. But anyway, you could see like his early, like his first year in juniors was pretty unspectacular, but then this season he really turned it on. 22 points in 17 games. The plus 21 doesn't really matter, but I think it's interesting to see that this year he was a plus 19 when last year he was only a plus 2. I know plus minus is kind of a garbage stat, but I think it shows like some improvement, and I think it was worth mentioning. Uh, all in all, I think he's going to be a very good NHL player. I don't know if I necessarily completely believe he's going to be like a franchise defenseman or anything like that, but I think he'll be a very good NHL player. He could be a key piece for any team rebuilding right now. The next guy is Michael Misa. This is the guy I really want the Hawks to draft, but I don't think they're going to get him. 177 games played in the OHL, 113 goals, 152 assists. You know, I love reading junior numbers because they get so ridiculous sometimes. And he was a plus 55 over his career. His stats in his draft year: 65 games played this season in the OHL, 62 goals, almost a goal per game, and 72 assists. He was a plus 45, and then in the playoffs, he kind of, Saginaw as a whole struggled. So 4 games played, 2 goals, 1 assist. He was a minus 10. Not great, but it's the playoffs, especially junior playoffs. It kind of happens sometimes. Yeah, I think he's a phenomenal player. His ability on the puck is amazing. He's got a physical presence. I think he's like 6'1" or 6'2". I think he's going to be a fantastic player. I really hope he somehow falls to the Blackhawks. I don't think it's going to happen, but I really hope it does. But let's go on to the next guy. Next up, I put Porter Martone. So his career OHL stats: 178 games played, 89 goals, 115 assists, plus 34. Draft year: 57 games played, 37 goals, 61 assists. He was a plus 19. OHL in the playoffs: 6 games, 4 goals, 5 assists, plus 3. Didn't have a great U20 World Juniors for Canada, but I think a lot of that just has to do with the coaching and management of Team Canada. They brought the wrong players to that tournament, but I don't really want to get into that. Uh, so yeah, I Martone I think is less exciting than either Schaefer or Misa. He's a bit of a weird player because he's 6'3" and he's like bigger guy, but he doesn't really play a super physical game. But I think also a part of that is just because he's in the OHL, and the OHL is like pretty much just the scoring league. Like I wonder what he would look like if he was playing in the WHL and stuff. But yeah, I think he'll be a very good player. I don't think his ceiling is as high as either a Misa or a Schaefer, but I do think he could be like a very good uh, complementary winger on like your first or second line. He could be like the perfect player to play with Bedard because he has playmaking ability, he has goal scoring ability. You know, if he could be physical, he could be like a perfect match with Bedard. I think this is the guy that if the Blackhawks don't make a trade to move up or down or unless Misa somehow falls to number 3, I think this is going to be the guy the Hawks will take, and I'll be pretty happy with it, to be honest. The last guy I wanted to mention is James Hagens. Um, I really like James Hagens as a player, but I don't think he's the right fit for the Blackhawks. But let's go through his stats. So, for the United States National Team Development Program, um, I complete mouthful of a name. 118 games played, 72 goals, 115 assists, plus 54. In the USHL, 57 games played, 35 goals, 52 assists, plus 27. And then in his draft year, he had it's kind of weird because like hold on. So with his stats, 37 games played, 11 goals, 26 assists. Like that's a pretty good stat line for like I still let me look something up really quick. I think he's still 17. James Hagens. Let me just Google him. Sorry, very unprofessional. Oh no, he's 18. Okay, but still, like he's a true freshman in college and stuff. And people were saying, oh, he had kind of a disappointing season. Like being point per game. I know Boston College is a very good school and stuff, but still, being point per game as a freshman, it's very impressive. Um, you would like the goals to maybe be a little bit higher, but still, he had a very good freshman season, and I think a lot of people are kind of undervaluing him now. I think just because coming into this year he was expected to be like the slam dunk number 1 pick, and he kind of fell off that, but it is what it is. He also had a very good tournament for the USA. 5 goals, 4 assists, 7 games played, plus 9. I think he's a very good player. I don't think he's the right fit for the Hawks just because they have a lot of smaller forwards that are projecting to be top 6. They kind of need a bigger guy. That's why I'm rooting for either a Martone or a Misa. But if it comes down to like we had to take James Hagens for some reason, I wouldn't be completely angry. I think he's going to be a very good player. So, uh, going back to the draft order. So, I've seen some rumors that apparently the Islanders might end up taking Hagens number 1, which I would love, because that would pretty much mean Schaefer goes to San Jose and then we get Misa. I don't think that'll actually happen, but I am really hoping it does. I think there's also some interesting scenarios, like for trades potentially. Like the Islanders, obviously, they were not expecting to get this pick. You don't expect to jump from number 10 to number 1 in the lottery because that would make no sense. Obviously, they also just fired Lou Lamoriello. So they might just be looking to completely tear this down. Obviously, next year's draft class is a lot better than this one. There's guys like McKenna, Bjork, I think is how you say his name, and there's other kids too that are really, really good and would probably go number 1 in this draft. Um, so they might be thinking, hey, you know what? We can trade down maybe a couple of spots, like, say, to Chicago. Chicago trades up to number one. We give them our pick, maybe Toronto's pick, and a prospect, and then we get Misa. And then they would still have number three. They could take Hagens anyway, or they could take Martone, whoever they want. Um, there's rumors that they might trade guys like Barzal might be traded. What's his name? Dobson, I think his name is, the defenseman. He might get traded. So if they're looking to go into a full rebuild, it might make sense for them to move down to three, still get the guy they want if they really like Hagens, and then get like another pick and a prospect maybe on top of that. Um, I don't really see Chicago trading down from this spot. I don't see San Jose trading either because they'll probably take whichever one is available of Schaefer or Misa. Um, I don't really know a ton about who would be trading where. Maybe Pittsburgh would want to trade down to get some extra picks, maybe try to restock the farm system a little bit. Boston maybe will be aggressive. Philly might be aggressive. You never know. I think it's going to be a very interesting draft. I think Schaefer is probably going to go number one, but I don't think it's set in stone, and some interesting shenanigans might happen. You never know. But yeah. Anyway, I think that's going to do it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Um, leave a like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter. And yeah, have a good day. Bye bye.